By the end of the fall finale, a lightning storm that has Seattle by the throat has set Meredith Grey's house, which once belonged to Ellis Grey, on fire. We still don't know the full extent of the damage, but it appears to be fairly significant. Everyone is safe. Meredith doesn't appear to believe in signs, although this does occur on the same day that she makes her announcement about moving to Boston with her family. On the plus side, Maggie and Winston, who were at home with the children, packing for Meredith and fighting about their marriage, do manage to salvage what may be the most priceless relic of Grey's past. Meredith and Derek's framed post-it note. What a terrible thing to lose that child. In order to find out what happens to the prestigious House of Grey, we will have to wait until the show's return in February. Outrageous. Additionally, we must wait and see what happens to Maggie and Winston. Even though Thunderstruck doesn't give them much screen time, the way their narrative ends feels like the biggest cliffhanger as we enter this winter break. They are still arguing over Winston's assertion that working with him so closely is ruining their marriage and that he believes he should move from cardiac to vascular surgery. Okay, so there is less fighting and more avoidance on Maggie's part until Winston won't stop bugging her about it. It's not surprising that their arguments intensify as they get to the heart of the matter. Winston has no problem giving up cardio because it's not his all-consuming passion, whereas Maggie is. There's just something about packing, even if it's not your house, that cranks up the tension in any room. That, in Maggie's opinion, is the most absurd thing ever. She doesn't appreciate Winston's choice, and she wouldn't give up her profession for their marriage. These are her exact words. I'm not sure if I respect that, right in the man's face. That's a hard one to recover from. It reminds me a lot of Christina and Owen, and we all know what happened to them. Maggie and Winston are not the only Grey's Anatomy pair going through a difficult time right now. Meredith doesn't get to inform her loved ones about her choice to move to Boston, but we do find out that Nick isn't handling it well. He acknowledges that Meredith must prioritize her children, but he is disappointed that she didn't even bother to consult with him before making the decision official. Just a heads up that she's accepting a job across the country, you know. Though he wouldn't have had any say in the choice, he still feels a little taken by surprise. His relationship with Meredith will undoubtedly come to an end if he stays in Seattle, which would make him feel like an idiot. He would have to give up his interns and this new residency program, both of which he truly cares about, if he followed her to Boston. Nick does a terrific job at this profession, and not for nothing. He is incredibly kind and encouraging to the interns. He is also incredibly handsome. Whoops, this just turned into a diary entry. Tessa Hobbs, an author of children's books, is undergoing a difficult Whipple operation as Meredith, and Nick's tension between them is out of control. Nick is doing his best to support Lucas, who is clearly lacking confidence in his ability to believe he has the talent to be a surgeon. Lucas and Simone have scrubbed in for the procedure. He is quite harsh with himself. Since Amelia forced him to reveal his shepherd identity in front of everyone at the skills lab and kept Nick in the dark about it, adding to the list of details Meredith doesn't feel the need to include Nick in, it's been particularly difficult today. At the time, Lucas's huge complex over not living up to his last name is raging. While trying to instill more self-assurance in Lucas, Nick assures him that he is excellent enough to make his own name. God, he's dreamy. Oh, how did my diary get back in here? Meredith is all over Lucas in the operating room the second he hesitates. She eventually gets him to back off and replaces him with Simone. Obviously, it has more to do with her problems with Nick than it does with Lucas, but it still hurts. Even while I'm sure Nick will eventually be sipping Dunkachinos in Boston with his best friend and leaving the residency program to Owen, who is very good at teaching, the man currently seems really upset. Meredith has the right to decide what is best for her and her children, but it is only polite to speak with Nick before formally accepting the position. For Meredith, he has done so much that he has given up. Don't mess this up. Knowing that my 14-year-old self would be horrified to see me defending the Ben Covington in this manner, this entire situation is extremely contradictory. However, here we are. And how did Lucas do following the less-than-perfect surgery? Perfect for Tessa, the patient being operated on. Less than perfect for Lucas? Wow, what a nutcase when it comes to trying to prove himself. He's in a tailspin in the locker room because he feels like an absolute failure and stupid. It's awful. He resists Simone's attempts to save him by showing sympathy. He does not want her to treat him nicely. They argue until they begin kissing, which is the best type of kissing, which they then do. Simone suddenly withdraws, informing Lucas that she can't do this, but she doesn't elaborate before taking off. The day has not been kind to my man. How shall I put it? I'm developing feelings for this fresh batch of interns. I like the chemistry that Lucas and Simone have going on. May the new year be filled with more of them kissing. As they assist a family who were all struck by lightning, Jules and Benson are developing a friendship down in the pit. Jules also has a chance to impress, but Benson gets to demonstrate his lightning expertise, which I guess is now a thing. Their friendship has so far largely revolved around outdoing each other, but later on they start to connect over tragedies that happened in the skills lab. This plays well because bonding over tragedy is a possible alternative title for this series. Jules divulges additional information about her awful parents and how her upbringing was impacted by their drug use. Benson also shows his vulnerability by telling Jules that he received his medical degree from a school in St. Kitts, since no American medical school would accept him after his mother's illness and death caused his once impressive grades to plummet. Of the 5 newcomers, Micah is the least well-treated, and her new position as Teddy Altman's biggest fan is worrying. Sure, Teddy performed the surgery with skill that day, but Micah, dear, you have no idea what you're getting into. As time goes on, let's hope she gets the same amount of screen time as her peers. In terms of momentum, this big break is undoubtedly a negative, but after 6 episodes, it seems as though the season 19 refresh is actually beginning to bear fruit.